Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. So the reason why I actually haven't posted a video in the last couple of days is because the laptop that I use for recording broke down on me, and it's been really frustrating. I think I'm gonna have to send it in for repair, so I'm actually using a friend's laptop to record in the meanwhile, because I didn't want to go too long without getting an episode up. So I need to get that figured out, and I do apologize to you guys because I was looking forward to just getting daily episodes out, but right after I factory reset my computer, a couple days later, it just crashed on me. So it's really frustrating, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I'm gonna do my best to get out content while, my laptop's being fixed. So yeah, we're gonna hop back onto the ladder. It's actually a brand new season, and they did change the rule set, so it's not exactly VGC 2015 now, since Pokemon from previous generations and moves from previous generations are allowed, so that'll be kind of interesting. But I'm still gonna use the Worlds team just because it's a really fun team to use, and I like to feature it a bit more. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating also that Battle Spot doesn't have the official VGC rule set basically for this season, just because of the fact that, one, it takes away a means of practice, and two, takes away meaningful VGC content. But I'm sure a lot of the teams we'll run into will be VGC teams. So, we're going to start at 1500. Eric from Florida is going to be our first opponent of the day. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Now, Eric here has got a pretty scary looking team, but a pretty cool one as well, of Scizor, Landorus, Therian, Arcanine, Venusaur, Greninja, and Aegislash. So, nothing... A bunch of different things that stick out to me, I guess. First of all, the type synergy. A dual steel is pretty interesting in Scizor and Aegislash. A Greninja is always a really scary Pokemon to deal with because you never really know what its moveset is until it uses it. So, could be fully special, could be fully physical, could be mixed, which I think is the best Greninja out there. Gothitelle here is slightly weak, both to Scizor and to Aegislash. But at the same time, let's see. I want to eliminate Greninja before anything else. But Sylveon doesn't do too well here either. And the Mega Evolution here is probably going to be Venusaur, though Scizor could also be. So if anything, I think conserving Salamence will be really important in this match. So I think I'm going to lead with Salamence, and I actually really like Swampert here. Yeah, my opponent's team has a lot of trouble with Swampert in general. And in the back, I think I'm going to go Ferrothorn and Blaziken here. Gotrap is kind of nice, but with 3 potential Pokemon that can hit it for super effective in Scizor, Greninja, and Aegislash, I'm going to choose not to go with those. Ferrothorn here can really wall a lot of my opponent's Pokemon too. For example, Venusaur really can't touch it at all, actually. Venusaur literally can't do any damage to it, so I can Gyro Ball it for some decent damage and Power Whip it, whereas Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb really don't do anything. He can't Leech Seed me, though I can't really Leech Seed him either. So I'm going to lead with Salamence and my Swampert here against Landorus and Greninja, so we're both going to be intimidating each other, as my Intimidate actually goes before his, so that's not a Choice Scarf Landorus, maybe Assault Vest, maybe Choice Band. Combined with Choice Scarf, those are basically the 3 most common abilities. A Greninja here as the lead is definitely really scary, but this is why I brought Ferrothorn. Switching to Ferrothorn here is definitely really helpful, so I'm going to go right out into Ferrothorn here, and if anything, I know that Greninja is the bigger threat, so I'm going to try to target that down. I'm going to go for the Earth Power here since, regardless of what move he ends up choosing, for example, if I Scalded with Protean, he would be Water type, and it wouldn't be very effective. So I know I'm guaranteed good damage off here. We'll see if Landorus Therian stays in, U-turns or switches out. Good move by him there. He just stays in with both Pokemon. No Protect. We do see the Ice Beam come out from Greninja. That's going to target down Ferrothorn. Not going to do too much damage. It does have the Life Orb as well, so good to confirm the item there. Landorus actually just goes straight for the Rock Slide, so perhaps fishing for that flinch immediately in the beginning of the game. So hopefully Swampert doesn't flinch here, but he does manage to get the flinch there, which is a bit frustrating, but, that's alright. So, Life Orb Greninja, that's good to know. Let's see, Protect from Ferrothorn is kind of obvious here, but I really want to just knock out Greninja. I'm just going to go for Gyro Ball and Earth Power here. Yeah. Landorus really isn't a threat to me right now. We saw that he went for the Rock Slide first turn, which is already a kind of questionable play other than just going for the flinch. Landorus actually withdraws here, so if Greninja doesn't protect, that should be going down, which is really good. Venusaur is going to come out from my opponent, though. Good Pokemon to bring in here. Greninja does go for the Map Block? Okay. Map Block, as you know, won't work in that kind of position, so He doesn't even change the fighting type, so Gyro Ball, I mean, it's not like Gyro Ball or Earth Power, they would have finished the job off anyway since Greninja is so fast. So I pick up the knockout there. Maybe it was a misclick there, maybe my opponent doesn't understand the mechanics of map block, but I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be able to pick up that KO. You know, worst case, he went for an Ice Beam, maybe a Dark Pulse, maybe a Scald onto one of my Pokemon, but I know Ferrothorn and Swampert both could have survived that. I guess worst case scenarios, Greninja did have the low kick, which is definitely a really good move there, but we're not going to know for sure. So Arcanine's going to come out here. My opponent's team really revolving a lot around Intimidate, and Ferrothorn's definitely going to want to get out of here right now. Doesn't fare well against Arcanine, or, you know, can't do too much to Venusaur, though Venusaur can't retaliate back with very much either. So if anything, I'm probably going to want to pull out the double switch here. You would just expect the fire type attack to go into Ferrothorn, so I'm going to switch out into Blaziken here, and the grass type attack to go into Salamence. But if this Arcanine is smart, he can choose to Will-O-Wisp either of my Pokemon. If he targets correctly, my Mega Salamence will be burned, which is kind of bad. So let's see if my opponent can make this prediction here, since that would be really, really good. I also do want to conserve the Ferrothorn, since Ferrothorn is pretty good in the late game against Landorus T. So you know, I'm going to play to that. Blaziken here also puts on some offensive pressure, especially with Superpower against the Arcanine, but it can also overheat against Venusaur. But like I mentioned, it is going to be the Mega Venusaur here, which makes a lot of sense. Still a really good Mega Evolution, but really dropped usage at the towards of Nationals and Worlds just because it's so bulky, but doesn't fare too well. He does go for the Will-O-Wisp there, but targets down the wrong Pokemon, targeting down Blaziken instead. So that works out quite nicely. I do get a free switch in basically to both of my Pokemon, as the damage to Salamence was basically irrelevant. So with that, I'm actually going to double up onto the Arcanine slot, because I know that the worst Venusaur can do against Salamence is go for a Sludge Bomb or a Leech Seed, excuse me. You might want to choose to Protect here. I would see it highly unlikely that he doesn't Protect and just attacks with, you know, but he doesn't Protect with either, okay. So Salamence gets that double edge off. That might actually just pick up the knockout there, but nope, Arcanine is bulky enough to take that. And has the Citrus Berry, pretty cool. That's a really, really bulky Arcanine, Eevee to survive max attack double edge, but I did double up onto that slot, so I do get the superpower off, and that should pick up the knockout as it does. But smart play there, nice one to not Protect there with Venusaur, allowing him to, you know, get a guaranteed damage off there. So let's see who he targets. I would expect the Sludge Bomb onto either of my two Pokemon. Gonna be that Sludge Bomb, gonna target down Salamence. Let's see if he gets a poison here. Nope, no poison, so I'm really fortunate about that. Blaziken Speed Boost is great, but what this allows me to do now is, one, I can scout out the item on the Landorus, which is always helpful. So if anything, let's see. It's not Scarf. The other thing is I do want to conserve the Salamence, since Double Edge is a one-hit KO. So I'm just going to go for the Hidden Power Ice here onto Landorus and switch back out into Ferrothorn. Just because I know that once Landorus goes down, I don't have to worry about the Protect Mind games, and I know I can just Double Edge into that slot. So the real question here is, does the Landorus carry an Assault Vest? Because if it does, it'll be able to survive my Hidden Power. Looks like no Protect coming out here. Let's see if it survives the Hidden Power Ice. Nope, HP Ice knocks out in one hit, so Blaziken really coming through in this game, picking up a knockout on Landorus and Arcanine. Game is 4-1 in my favor now. All I have to do is bring Salamence back in safely, and it'll be GG. He does actually go for the Synthesis, which is pretty cool. So we've seen Synthesis, we've seen Giga Drain, we've seen Sludge Bomb. Don't know that last move. I would guess Protect, but maybe Leech Seed as well. Speed Boost here, you know, it doesn't really matter at this point, but that was really, really nice to pick up the knockout there. I'm just going to go for the Overheat and the Gyro Ball, because all I know is my opponent has to knock out one of my two Pokemon, and I'll be able to bring in Salamence safely. You know, if anything, in games like that, you just don't want to lose the one Pokemon that, you know, can win the game. But Eric's going to forfeit there. We're going to take a 4-1 win in the first game of today's episode. That was a pretty fun one, even though my opponent's rating was pretty low. We did see some cool stuff. I think Arcanine's always a really fun Pokemon to use, and that one was so bulky. Like, you can imagine how I could have lost that one if I just didn't play correctly. For example, doubling up into the Arcanine slot and allowing something to get knocked out or burned. So we're just going to hop back on and look for our second game. As always, with the beginning of a new season, I'm probably going to play a couple of games off screen just to get the rating up a bit higher and find, you know, higher rated opponents. But second game of today will be a 1508 Japanese opponent. This time around, my opponent's rocking a really cool rain team of Politoed, Gengar, Hydreigon, Thundurus, Swampert, and Ferrothorn. So let's see. This actually really reminds me of a Rain team that managed to win a regional championship over in Europe that revolved kind of around the Mega Gengar, Mega Swampert duo. Mega Gengar for Perish Trap, and then Mega Swampert to pair off with Thundurus and Politoed. That team had Thundurus Therian form, but Mega Swampert's actually a really, really good Mega Evolution that I think is finally going to see some more usage because of its ability to counter the Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss, Landorus, Kangaskhan combination. Fares really well, especially with its bulk, so, you know, I think if anything, I know that Ferrothorn is going to be by far the best Pokemon in this matchup against Politoed, against Swampert, against the Gengar. Just gonna have to avoid the fire type attack from Hydreigon if it does carry it. Lead matchup here is really important. Let's see. Got this kind of tempting, honestly. For example, got Ferrothorn, but he might lead with Gengar. I feel like you bring Gengar here instead of Swampert. So for that reason, I actually really like leading with my Swampert and Ferrothorn. Yeah. Do I want to bring Sylveon here? Sylveon's not that great. Blaziken might actually be worth bringing here, which is kind of weird, but Superpower can knock out Hydreigon and Ferrothorn. So oddly enough, I am going to bring Blaziken into a Rain matchup, but the cool thing about Blaziken too is because of Speed Boost, if you're able to manage to get 2 turns out where they don't target you, you can actually, you know, match their, the Speed Boost, for example, Pokemon with Swift Swim like Swampert or Ludicolo. So I'm going to lead with Swampert and Ferrothorn. This is a lead that I don't go with too often, but we're going to see the Gengar come out and the Ferrothorn from my opponent. So nice lead from my opponent there. So the dual Ferrothorn matchup here is really awkward right from the get-go. But I do have a bunch of options. I can switch into Salamence, but I can also switch into Blaziken. I probably like the Blaziken switch in here a bit more. So I'm going to switch into Blaziken. And Gengar presumably is going to Protect. I don't want him. Gengar is also a Pokemon that might carry Disable, so I'm going to go for a Leech Seed here because I think Gyro Ball is actually more important. Switching into Salamence might have been helpful there as well, but first of all, let's see if this Gengar is a Mega Gengar. No, wow. Ooh, he went for the Will-O-Wisp there on a Ferrothorn. Wow. So I guess it's a normal Gengar, and I assumed it'd be Mega Gengar. Wonderful play there, going for the Leech Seed and the Will-O-Wisp there. Unfortunately, I don't have Lumberry, so I do end up getting burned. However, this actually works out in my favor, just because now, you know, sure, his Ferrothorn gets the Leech Seed off, but now my Blaziken just threatens him with an Overheat, and I get rid of a potential Focus Sash on that Gengar's end as well. So, you know, great turn by my opponent there, really well played, obviously predicting the switch out there from Swampert going for the Leech Seed instead, so nicely done. But Ferrothorn here does have a lot of recovery right now. He's probably, I would expect him to go for a Shadow Ball into Blaziken. So I could Protect Blaziken. That's the obvious play, though. I could double Protect here, honestly. He might also switch Ferrothorn out. Yeah, there's little reason to keep Ferrothorn in. I'm going to actually Protect here and predict the Ferrothorn to switch out. So I'm going to Leech Seed that slot. And if he doesn't switch out, there's literally nothing he can do. He can't touch my Ferrothorn with his Ferrothorn. His Gengar at most goes for a Shadow Ball into mine. But I think it's highly likely we're going to see Ferrothorn either Protect or switch out here. But the smarter play here, if you're my opponent, is to switch out with Ferrothorn because you regain some momentum. Right now, I do have the matchup favor, so I want to try to take advantage of that. By getting 2 Leech Seed off and with leftovers, you know, that puts on so much pressure for my opponent to switch. That's why I think Ferrothorn is such a good Pokemon, because of its ability to control the game. And we do see the Ferrothorn switch out as I predicted, so that's great. My question here is, who does Gengar target? We are going to see the Politoed come in here, which I'm more than okay with, as Politoed really can't do very much against Ferrothorn either. So it looks like my opponent has a really difficult matchup against this Ferrothorn. So, Blaziken is going to go for the Protect. With the Speed Boost, I'll be able to outspeed Gengar consequent turns. Gengar here is going to go for the Shadow Ball into the Blaziken, and Ferrothorn here doesn't get the Leech Seed off as it misses Politoed. So that's kind of a bummer. Getting that Leech Seed off would, 1, mean more recovery, and 2, basically put on more pressure, as I did make the right prediction, but, you know, that's alright. If anything, though, I'm going to have to play a bit smart here just because of the fact that I know he's got the Ferrothorn in the back, and my Blaziken is the best answer to deal with that Ferrothorn. So I think the best play here is for me to actually switch out Blaziken. So I'm going to go for that. Unfortunately, we're probably going to see a Scald into that slot. Maybe a Scald and a Shadow Ball. As long as I don't get burned or lose special defense, that's alright. And here I'm going to go once again for the Leech Seed onto Politoed. So missing that actually set me back a fair amount, because if not, I'd be going for a Gyro Ball onto the Gengar slot. But, I could have anticipated Politoed coming in going for a Power Whip instead. But like I mentioned, I'm not going to want to lose Blaziken this early on, because if my opponent's smart, he's going to Shadow Ball and Scald into that slot, since Ferrothorn, isn't doing too much right now, and with it being Burn, it won't knock out either of his Pokemon. With that, I know that Blaziken's the most important Pokemon in this matchup. I see that Swampert's not as helpful here, given, he has a Gengar, Politoed, and a Ferrothorn. He actually does withdraw the Gengar, which is a good play. Maybe back out into the Ferrothorn. Going to be the Ferrothorn coming out here. Okay. Let's see what Politoed goes for. He does go for the Protect. Nice play there. So I almost actually overheated that slot. Would have been crazy if I actually pulled that off, but I didn't want to play it too risky there. So I do have the leftovers, but, obviously with the burn, I do lose some HP every turn. So Swampert obviously is inclined to switch out. I might actually just stay in here and Skull Ferrothorn, fishing for a burn. You know what? I'm just going to Scald this turn, and I'm just going to go for the Power Whip. By going for the Power Whip, it ensures that I can switch in Salamence, get in an Intimidate, and then try to knock out that slot with the Double Edge. So going for the Scald here is kind of risky, I guess, but I don't want... the best play for my opponent here is the Power Whip and Scald that slot, but he's actually going to withdraw Politoed into the Gengar once again. Nice play. Let's see what Ferrothorn goes for. So Swampert, fastest Pokemon on the field right now, gets the Scald off. Let's see if we get the burn here. We do get the burn. Okay, so kind of making up for that miss earlier on. This time around, he actually did go for the Power Whip on the Gengar, but with the burn, that's not going to be able to knock me out. Wow, actually, still does so much damage, though. Brings me all the way down to 7 HP. It's a testament to how strong Ferrothorn is offensively. But, yeah, I was kind of, playing for the burn there, and I got it, and that's basically all I needed in this match. So both of us do have leftovers Ferrothorn, which is obnoxious to play against, especially in the mirror matchup, but that's alright. I know that Blaziken, that I still have in the back is really, really helpful. And right now, he's probably going to want to Shadow Ball Ferrothorn. Well, actually, this is kind of interesting, right? Because if you don't Shadow Ball Ferrothorn, Swampert can just knock your Gengar out. So I'm actually just going to double up on Gengar here with the Scald and the Gyro Ball. But unfortunately, I don't think Gyro Ball is enough to knock out Gengar, which kind of stinks. But I'm just going to go for it. With Politoed in the back, I'm really wondering what his last Pokemon is, since this obviously so far has been a normal Gengar, and most Mega Gengars don't carry Will-O-Wisp, so I would guess this is just a normal Gengar. So with that being said, I would guess his last one is Swampert, and if that's the case, then Ferrothorn and Salamence obviously can do very, very well against that with the Intimidate and the Power Whip, and even just Leech Seeds. So definitely looking pretty decent for me here. Getting the burn onto Ferrothorn was pretty big. It's actually really funny since that last game that we had a while back involved me getting a burn with Swampert as well. So that's how good he is. But he actually does reveal the Protect on Gengar. Okay, I was not predicting that since not all Gengars carry Protect, but nice play there. So he's actually going to go for the Leech Seed, which is the best play onto Swampert if I were to switch out there. And he's going to be able to pick up the knockout there through the recovery. So nicely done there. I was hoping that Gengar wasn't carrying Protect, but in this case it did carry Protect, and that sets me back a little bit. But that's alright. It's also important to note that with the burn onto Ferrothorn, I'll be able to KO him with Double Edge, so I don't have to rely on Blaziken anymore, which is really, really helpful. But my opponents played the last couple of turns really, really well. And if it weren't for that burn, I would probably lay down even more. So I am going to lose the Swampert here, unfortunately. He's going to heal very, very minimal amount from leftovers and Leech Seed, as we both take burn damage. So, with that, I am probably going to want to switch in Blaziken. Yeah. And the Protect from Blaziken is kind of obvious, so I wonder if he's going to want to target down Ferrothorn this time around. So I'm actually going to just Superpower Ferrothorn. Expecting the switch. And Leech Seed, because I really need to start getting some recovery here on a Ferrothorn. I don't think Shadow Ball will even knock out Blaziken. It'll probably put me in very close, but not enough to actually pick up the knockout. But I guess this is slightly risky, because if he targets on Blaziken and I faint, and if his last one is that Swampert, then he'll be able to reset the rain, as it should be ending soon. He is going to go for the Shadow Ball here. Let's see who he targets. Going to target down that Ferrothorn. Doesn't protect with his Ferrothorn either. Perfect for me here. Blaziken gets the Superpower off. That is going to be able to pick up the knockout onto Ferrothorn. Gonna lose attack and defense stage, but worth it to pick up the knockout there onto Ferrothorn, which was really walling me. I do take some Iron Barbs and Life Orb damage, but more importantly, Blaziken now is faster than Gengar as well. So really, really great there. Basically perfect turn, as long as Leech Seed doesn't miss here, which it does not. So I do get the recovery here as well. I actually not like that I didn't go for the Gyro Ball there, just because I need the Ferrothorn basically to heal back more, and this forces Gengar to basically switch out now since I can overheat the slot. It is under 50%. Overheat should be able to pick up the knockout even through Rain. And we did see Rain end here, so, you know, it would make sense for Politoed to switch in here. But now that Ferrothorn gets the Leech Seed off, I can try to Leech Seed the other Pokemon on my opponent's end. And so that was a really good last turn for me, but definitely still far from over. So we're going to see what my opponent brings in right now. Pressure's definitely on, but it's been a fantastic match so far. I really like how my opponents played this game, and it's pretty cool to see a normal Gengar here. I totally bought into a Mega Gengar duel here, since Gengar, Swampert, Politoed, you know, that has seen a lot of traction. Hibiki used a Mega Swampert team, and we do actually see Swampert here as the last one. Okay, that's very nice to see. So we have some mind games here, but I think what my opponent's gonna do is switch Gengar out into Politoed and protect Swampert. So I can predict that, switch into Salamence and Leech Seed Gengar. That'd be kind of a risky play. I could also overheat Leech Seed Gengar, but I really think Gengar's switching out here. I did get Speed Boost as well, which is kind of nice, but the Intimidate here would be really nice. But you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go for the Overheat Leech Seed play here. Yeah, he does switch out. Okay. So let's see whether Swampert protects or not. So I do get the Leech Seed, which is the most important thing against a Politoed. I really think Swampert would protect here. That would only make sense. Unfortunately, this means that stalling out Rain will be really, really difficult. And if Politoed's helping hand, I mean, I don't think Ice Punch will knock out Salamence at -1, but we'll see. Ferrothorn's basically the most important thing here. He does protect with Swampert. Okay, so I did predict that correctly, but I played it a bit safer there. So Blaziken gets the Overheat off. Obviously not going to do any damage. Or actually, it should do a decent amount still, just because of the fact that I haven't used Overheat yet. But yeah, it doesn't do very much damage here against a Politoed, which is really especially defensive. Leech Seed does connect with Politoed this time around. That's great. So that's really, really good for me here, just because I am burned, so the burn does set me back a bit, but with leftovers and with the recovery here, it's going to help me out a bit every turn. If anything, it's going to force the Politoed to maybe switch back out. You see, Politoed did basically take around a fourth, maybe a bit more than a fourth of its health there, which is really good. However, if Swampert carries Superpower, that could be really bad. Now the question is, do I want to make the risky play and switch out into Salamence? That is the question. I could also Leech Seed Swampert here. The switch out into Salamence is so obvious. Like, I would predict Blaziken to switch out here and Ice Punch that slot probably. So maybe I should just sack Blaziken. Go for the Superpower. And the Power Whip or the Leech Seed. I do want the Intimidate though, because he might want to double up on the Ferrothorn. But he might also switch out into Gengar with Politoed. You know what? I'm gonna Superpower. No, I should conserve Ferrothorn. That's my way to win this game. Okay, I'll switch out and protect. Actually, no. I'll Leech Seed here. Wow, this is a really intense game. Maybe Sylveon would have been a bit better. I don't really think so too much, though. I feel like if anything in this game, it's just been about momentum management, and my opponents managed the momentum a bit better than I have. So this is a big turn. Nope, he goes for the Earthquake. Okay, cool. So maybe I should have protected there with Ferrothorn. I think I can take an attack there. He goes for the Ice Beam. Who does he target? Let's see. Onto the Ferrothorn. Can I survive? Hang on with 12 and get the Leech Seed off. Wow. That was basically the play I was expecting from my opponent. I am so glad he went for it because he did more damage to the Politoed as well. Okay. So I get 2 Leech Seed recoveries now. And his Salamence, or his Swampert, excuse me, is intimidated. Oh, that was a big turn for me there. That was a very big turn. And I really do like the Earthquake play there, because if I stayed in with Blaziken, I would have just lost Blaziken. And Ferrothorn, actually, if I didn't get that Intimidator off. So that was big. That was really big. So now he's really forced to switch out. I think I'm actually just going to Double Edge Politoed. And Power Whip Swampert. Yeah. So, because I know I'm faster than Politoed, and I think I should be able to take a -1 Ice Punch as well. So if he Ice Punches Salamence, you know, saying that he has it, then I either knock out Politoed or he protects, but then I get the Power Whip off against the Swampert, and then I just heal a lot more. So I guess the question here is, does he have Helping Hand with Politoed? Because if he does, he could go for a Helping Hand play. And I'm thinking maybe I should have targeted down Swampert here. But he might have also wanted to protect with Swampert. No switch out here. Oh, he does have Helping Hand. Who does he target? Oh, he goes for Rock Slide. That might not knock out Ferrothorn. Let's see. No, not even close. Does he flinch? Doesn't flinch Salamence, so I do get the double edge off. Ah, maybe I should have targeted down Swampert there, though, because that could have ended the game right there. Let's see if I flinch here with Ferrothorn. This is big. No, he gets the flinch. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Okay, okay. That might have actually won him the game there. Oh, man. He went for the Helping Hand, so I guess he doesn't have Ice Punch. Waterfall would most likely be his last attack. This is really coming down to the wire, guys, but it's gonna be tough to close out here since I'm Admit Salamence, so Gengar should outspeed me. Though Shadow Ball might not knock me out. I'm gonna double protect this turn just to stall out another turn of Rain and get some recovery. If I can stall out Rain, Blaziken might also be able to win me the game, but Ferrothorn right now, the burn is, you know, going a long way. And I'm thinking maybe I should have double edged Swampert in prediction of the Helping Hand, but I didn't know whether he cared or not. This game is, you know, over already 15 minutes. If it were a real VGC match, I actually would go to timer right now and I'd win based on the fact that I have more Pokemon, but obviously, you know, these aren't exact VGC rules. But I'm glad at least in today's episode we were able to find 2 teams that were VGC 2015 teams, and this is a really, really cool Rain team. So I'm going to double protect here, see what he goes for, and get some recovery here with the Ferrothorn. Let's see. He's just going to go for Rock Slide, okay. And who does Gengar go for? Sludge Bomb onto Salamence. Okay. Interesting. So, he's not targeting down Ferrothorn there. I thought he might have wanted to target down Ferrothorn, but I guess he knows that Salamence here can pick up a knockout as well. He also might not know that I'm faster, which is interesting. Okay, so he's probably going to go for the same play here. I don't see... He might protect with Gengar, though. That's the thing. But I don't think that's too likely. You know what? I'm going to double edge the Pert here, because it forces him to double into it. Gengar here can either protect... Who do I want to target down with Ferrothorn? That's the question. You know, if I knock out Swampert, then Gengar wins. I'm going to double up on Swampert, because I think Gengar might protect. No protect here. He does go for the Rock Slide. Okay, so let's see if he gets the flinch or crits. Yep, I hang on with both. Let's see who Gengar targets. Crits Ferrothorn, that's fine. Shadow Ball coming out. Is that targeting Ferrothorn? It is! Okay, so as long as I don't flinch here, Salamence wins. Or Blaziken in the back wins. Do I flinch? Oh. But Rain stops. Rain stops. So I think I can still win this. Oh, that flinch though. Okay. Because now what I do is I double protect. And then I just double edge overheat. But Swampert might be able to take a double edge. Oh, and I made the right play there too. So those 2 flinches, potentially costing me the game, but that's why you use Rock Slide on Swampert instead of something like Ice Punch. But let's see. Definitely not going to give up here. So going for the double protect here. Now watch Gengar bust out a Trick Room. That would really... actually, no, I can't even have Trick Room. See Sludge Bombs, he Waterfalls. Yep. And I actually do get the Leech Seed recovery there, which means double edge should knock out Swampert. Okay, so I should be fine here. As long as I don't miss overheat, I think it's going to come down to that, which kind of sucks because 90% accuracy. Oh man, that's too scary. He might also protect Gengar here, but that makes little sense. If he protects, he definitely loses. Oh, he protects. Unless he survives his double edge. Yeah, he's at 50%. I don't think he'll survive this double edge. I'm max attack. Alright, so Salamence gets his double edge off. Perfect. Wow, this second game today was amazing. And Salamence hangs on. Now, even if I miss the overheat, double edge will connect. So I have to miss 2 overheats now for me to lose this one. So it's still 1% chance of losing, I guess, but... yeah. I could actually hit him Power Ice twice. Maybe I should have. He targets on Salamence. I missed the first overheat. But now I can't, so I have to go for overheat this time. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, let's see. Let's see. Okay, we connect the second time around. I'm not sure if 2 HP ISs actually would have knocked out Gengar, which is why I just went for the overheat. Since missing 2 is pretty unlikely, but we did see it miss there. My opponent did make the right play targeting all Mega Salamence. But wow, that was one of the best games I've played in a very long time, going in at 19 minutes, and we're able to close it out. But I did get pretty lucky with the Scald Burn onto Ferrothorn earlier. He matched that with 2 Rock Slide, flinches, and I did miss a Leech Seed. So it's kind of hacksy on both sides, but ultimately I felt like both of us played really, really well, and I was able to just manage the momentum a bit better there at the end. So that was a really fun episode, and especially that second game, probably one of the best games I've played in a very long time. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Once again, sorry I haven't been around for a while. My computer's just had so many issues, and it's really frustrating me, but I'm going to do my best to provide some content even when my computer is being repaired. So yeah, going to be it for this episode. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.